Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to do something a little different today. What I wanted to do is do a review for the newly launched set that we have, Murders at Karlov Manor. Alright, so this video I'm going to be covering what I think are the top 10 common cards for the new set, the Murders at Karlov Manor. Alright, so let's get started. Here's the first one here that I'd like to show. These cards are coming out in no particular order. This one is Burhelion. This is a nice one, I think, because when you take a look at it, you got some offense here, you got some defense, and you got that nice special ability right here, the reach ability. I think this is a nice one to start off with. You're going to be able to play this one, hopefully with some of those artifacts that will give you either first strike or prevent damage. This is the one that's going to be able to block. If you get something that's going to give you prevent damage, this one's going to pretty much block everything and not take any damage. So that's going to be really nice. It has a Disguise 8 ability here. What that really means is that you're going to be able to play this side of the card for 5, then do the 8 drain from your hand. When you drain 8, because it's Disguise 8, you're going to be able to play this side. So really what you're looking at is 5 for the original card, another 8 to equal 13, and this is what you have for 13. Not bad. I do like this one. Here's another one that I like, Thinking Cap. Alright, this is an artifact equipment support. You can see here it gives +1/+2 to your creatures. It also gives that detective subtype. I like the detective subtype. I think there are a lot of advantages for that. You can see some in the cards that will be coming up. Really what you want to do is you want to have a lot of detectives on the field with some certain decks, and you'll be able to do that. I'll show you how in a few moments, but once you're able to put detective, that subtype on a card, then it looks like you're going to have an advantage with some of these cards that I'll show you in a few minutes. Alright, that's Thinking Cap. Here's the next one, Rakish Scoundrel. Alright, this is a nice creature with this ability here. This, of course, is Death Touch. Death Touch is a really nice ability. It's one of those you can pair with other things to just make it overpowered, right? So, of course, obviously, like Reach and First Strike, you put them together, and that's pretty devastating. Anyway, getting back to the Rakish Scoundrel, this is a 3/3 elf rogue. It says here Disguise 8. When this creature is revealed, target creature you control gains prevent damage until the beginning of your next turn. What I'm kind of seeing with this one is you could play it for this amount here, the 5, right? Do the Disguise. Once it's revealed, you'll give this one prevent damage. You'll also have this here, the Death Touch. Maybe if you're able to get him something like the Reach ability, all on the same turn, then he's going to pretty much kill everything that your opponent has. So super cool card here. Right, here's the next one, Harry Drone Smith. I like this one because a lot of decks can operate very nicely if you have tokens, and this one is one of those that's just going to help you with those tokens, right? This one specifically will give you Thopters, and it says here at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a Thopter token, right? So that's going to be nice. That's going to be every single turn that you have that combat phase, right? So you're going to be able to make a lot of Thopter tokens. That's going to help you to kind of use the tokens in a way that's going to help you to win games, right? So that will be varied depending on the type of deck you build, but this one could definitely be one of those key resource cards that's going to get you the resource of that Thopter, of course. Okay, here's another one, Snarling, Gore, Hound. I do like this one. This one I do like a whole lot, actually. When a creature with base power 2 or less enters the battlefield or is reinforced under your control, surveil 1. Alright, so for those of you that are not familiar, this is what surveil does, right? Pick up to X cards from the top 4 cards of your library, put those cards into your graveyard, and the rest will be, of course, on top of your library. Now with this one, what I would suggest doing is playing a deck with a lot of token creatures, right? So maybe like the card that I just showed you previous. Every single time a token creature with the base power of 2 enters the battlefield, you'll be able to surveil. So you'll be able to throw cards into the graveyard. That's going to help you with some certain decks. It's also going to help you pick the cards that you want, right? So excellent stuff there. Here's the next one, Reasonable Doubt. Drain all mana from the first card in your opponent's hand. Your first creature gains Suspect. Alright, Suspect is a new thing here. It really just adds menace and can't block to a creature. So there's some ways you can use that, right? Sometimes we'll have creatures you don't want blocking, but they have defender anyway. right? You can put suspect on them and it'll make sure that they don't block. So interesting stuff. I like the drain all mana from the first card in your opponent's hand. I think that's really good. I wish it wasn't 13, but you know what? That's the going rate. Okay, here's the next one. Bite Down on Crime. It's an enchantment card. Your first creature gets +2/+0 at the beginning of combat on your turn. Collect evidence 2. If evidence was collected, your first creature deals damage equal to its power to the first opposing creature. Okay, so let's break this down. Evidence, right? What is evidence? Evidence has to do with these simple tokens, okay? To collect evidence, exile the amount of simple tokens equivalent to this card's collect evidence number. All right, these are the simple tokens. We have treasure, gold, blood, map, clue, and food. If you can get rid of 2 when it says here at the beginning of combat, if you can get rid of 2, then it will be evidence collected, right? So if evidence is collected, your first creature deals damage equal to its power to the first opposing creature. And that's something that's going to help you to keep damage on your opponent's creatures and hopefully get them off the board. This one I think is going to have some uses in decks to come. Alright, let's take a look at the next one, Burden of Proof. Burden of Proof is a spell card for 9 mana. It says your first creature gets +2/+2 and gains the detective subtype. Your opponent's first creature can't block. Alright, here's another one that gives the detective subtype. I like the detective subtype as I talked about because it's very useful in certain decks. I would think that you could use the detective subtype with maybe tokens, and you'll see that that will help you to gain an advantage there because you'll have a ton of those reinforcements, most likely, of course, depending on what kind of deck you're using. Alright, here's the next one, Projector Inspector. It's a human detective. When a detective creature enters the battlefield under your control, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Alright, now you can see what I've been teasing this whole video, right? I've been talking about detectives a lot and it's going to give you an advantage. Here's a card that it will probably help you to build on that advantage. Now, this has to be tested, but if you place a detective in play, maybe it's a token detective, and you are able to continually reinforce that card, that token, which depending on the way that you decide to do it may not be very hard, then you're going to discard a card and then draw 2 cards. That's going to be really helpful in certain decks that you need to discard, or decks that really give you a benefit when you draw, right? So this one I think is a good card that you can put decks together with. As I mentioned, some of this has to be tested yet, but this could be one that you definitely revolve entire decks around. Excellent card. Alright, finally, here's the last one, Undercover Crocod Elf. First of all, what is a crocod elf? I don't know. It sounds like it's a crocodile elf, which is basically what it says here. So, interestingly enough, you get the Disguise 8 ability here. This is a 5/5 creature. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, investigate. Investigate is a nice one. It's an ability that gives you clue, and these clue tokens on the board, you match them, they'll help you to draw cards, help you to speed up those things, right? I do like that. The clues are what we refer to as the simple tokens, but then they also count as these artifacts, right? So that could be something that you use to build a deck around as well. Anyway, hope you guys liked this video. Hope it was helpful. And of course, as we always say for every video, like and subscribe, share with all your friends. It helps the channel. Okay, that's it for me. Good gaming.